found a way through using 2 series and a bunch of miscellaneous pieces of basically knitting together the different exhibit spaces here. And the work will be on display through the rest of this semester. There's going to be a reception after Amy's talk over in the living room, and we will be opening up special collections for about an hour or so that people viewing the art on all 3 floors of the library can come and display collections and see it work on display there.
I'm not going to stand behind the podium because we all need to see my giant personality. I want to thank Sarah for inviting me to display here in the college. I'd also like to thank his coworkers, Becky Palmer and Rose Oliveira. I think it's their summer right here. They helped me fill a lot of the display cases for always helping me out. So thank you very much. I'd also like to thank the gallery that represents me in Connecticut, the Courtyard Gallery in Mystic. They advised me as to how I should do my labels and how we should handle our work. So they cannot be here, Kristen and Delbach, but they've been very, very helpful in my career. I'm trying to think of who else to thank. I don't know, Connecticut College. I spent so much of my life here. It's really nice to be back in the library because I did work in the library for 13 years. So it's nice to be back and working with familiar spaces. I could go on many, many tangents, so I'm going to focus my talk by doing a little brief introduction about what Otherly Lingual means, and then I'm going to do something like a pechakucha. Do you know what that is? Have you heard? It's like a really brief talk. You get 10 slides, and you get so many seconds per slide. And what it does is it really advances the conversation, and also it keeps me on task and allows me to give you an introduction to the 3 major series that are on display here in the library now.
Do it again.
Pechakucha? Yeah, they have these, you can do, it's like a 2-minute talk. Mine's going to be a little bit longer than 2 minutes, but everybody has busy schedules, so I like to keep things succinct. And we're going to have a little Q&A. So if you have any questions, jot them down or raise your hand and we'll have a little open forum afterward. So Otherly Lingual. Yes, I think I made up a word, but it seems to fit. Otherly Lingual is the idea that we have many different forms of communication, and otherly is an uncommon form of communication, or something that we don't think about a lot, like nonverbal communication. Most of the information that we receive with our eyes. We're constantly taking in different bits of information and assessing that information and making sense out of it. And I read a statistic many, many years ago that says 80% of our communication is nonverbal. And it's the nonverbal communication that I find really fascinating. It's all the things that we don't say, but are communicated through body language, through emotions. Emotions are something that inspire me greatly because it allows us to relate as human beings. When we're emotional, everybody knows what you're going through, even if they haven't gone through it right then. Like say you're really sad or you're extremely happy. Everybody knows what that feels like. So it's something that bonds us together as human beings, and I feel like the more in touch we are and the more honest and open we are about our emotions, the more we can relate to each other as human beings instead of trying to hide our weaknesses. If we expose them, then we can relate through those emotions. So that's what I'm talking about with Otherly Lingual. I'm getting into those base emotions and translating them into 3 dimensions and into color. I'll talk a little bit more about that as I go through the slides. And I think that covers the introduction. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. So, PaintDragon should just let you know this a nickname, and it's also the name of my art business. I do art and design through PaintDragon. So it's kind of become a nickname. When I was performing as in part of the hip hop crew, I was always called PaintDragon, and it stuck. So that's where the PaintDragon comes from. You can also see more of my work at PaintDragon.com. All right. First, we're going to start off with the migration series. So talking about the world of emotion, we've all someone or something. Anytime you come to a point in your life where you need to change direction, you need to do something different than everybody else is doing because you see a change. You need to move toward change. So that's what abandonment is about. Abandonment is about you're with a group and you need to move forward, which causes you to move away from that group. So maybe you're the one being abandoned, maybe you're the one doing the abandoning, but that piece is translated into 3 dimensions to idealize what that looks like. Because when you feel something, you know, we're communicating with energy. We're emitting energy. If somebody is really upset and they're mad and they come into a room, you can feel it coming off of them. Well, what is that? What does that look like? You know what it feels like because you can sense it, right? Once again, nonverbal communication. Very, very powerful. Well, what does that look like? For me, I have something similar to synesthesia. I don't know if you're familiar with that. People get colors with numbers or colors with letters, or they see music. For me, it's emotion. When I experience an emotion, either personally or through somebody else, it comes with a visual image. And then looking at that visual image in my head, I decide, what's the best way to attack this? What's the best way to bring this into 3 dimensions? Is it through color? Is it through form? So you'll see a lot of my work, either it's really, really colorful, or it's very dimensional. And if a work is really dimensional, I like to strip it down into titanium white. So you can focus on the form. You're not distracted by the color. Where other pieces, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the show, but there's some pieces that are really brilliantly colorful. The second floor has the color vibration series, which is right outside the Haynes room. How long it takes my computer to shut down again. It's a little old. Oh, maybe now. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is abandonment. So now, once we were talking about, you can see the form. There's a group moving away. Whether you're being abandoned, the backs are turned, or you're moving forward, it's a time of change. It's a time of new discovery. It's also a time of separation. And this, of course, is titanium white. It's a 3-dimensional piece. The pieces were made to be either hung or on a pedestal, so you can really use them both ways. Here, they're on a pedestal. Within and without, also from the migration series, all these pieces are created with encaustic and cotton. So cotton batting, like you use in quilting. This is what it's like to work with a group well. This is what it's like to work with a group in chaos. And everybody knows what that's like. Sometimes you get along with people, other times it's like rats abandoning a sinking ship. It's just nuts. And you're never really sure what you're gonna get. Age old was a meditation on where we come from. Where do our ideas come from? How do we evolve? How are we moving forward? So I was thinking about Fibonacci cycle. I was thinking about early life, the nautilus shell, and of course you can literally see the piece advancing off of the panel. And also with this piece, I really love how the wood grain shows through the encaustic. Next series is the spiderweb series. Now talk about temporal. I have to work really fast to make these. So you have a spider web, you've got to grab it immediately. So I'll have to run out, and this one I was finger painting with pigments, which you should never do. It's very hazardous. And then I paint the spider web and I collect it on the panel and then frame it. But you have to work really, really fast because they change constantly. The Joyful Shout, I was reading a Chinese medicine book in the 17th century that talks about spring and what the body is like in the spring, how it operates. And I like that there's a little meal right here. So I thought with like digestion and the whole idea of Chinese medicine, what your body is like in the spring and how it processes, became big joyful shout. He goes like, oh, Neil! But then I took it. And also spring in Chinese is very much spring. Green is spring. With reconciliation, I was using a technique like Martin Klein, who also works in caustic. He uses a technique called accretion. So it's building layers of wax on top of each other, and it creates a really nice texture to grab the spider web. Because they're really tricky to work with. Working against wind, you're working against natural phenomena. You're never really sure how it's going to turn out, so it's nice to have that big question mark of like, how planned, let's see if it works. So I like the chance in that. The next series, this is a color vibration series. This is one that's outside the Haynes room on the second floor. This one I did, was it Relay for Life, raising money? So I said, I'm a Reiki practitioner. I'll do Reiki and raise money for Relay for Life. So I worked on a woman here at the college, and she was hoping to get pregnant. And I saw this inside her, and I said, are you planning on having children? She said, yeah, we're trying to get pregnant. I'm like, well, if you're not pregnant, you will become pregnant because I see this in you. She was pregnant. And she didn't know it yet. This is a series with another patient who came to me very literally with a broken heart, like trauma since the age of 2, just abused, neglected, this poor person. And what happened was I saw this was initially black, and these colors radiate pain to me. So through the session, we were able to get the heart chakra color of the green coming through, and I could actually see the healing taking place in my mind's eye. And we progressed further than that. I've seen such a nice image, so. This is another patient whose first 3 chakras were split through sexual trauma, and I had to psychically, use it, psychic surgically sew the patient up and was able to, in my mind's eye, reunite the 3 chakras, and the difference was amazing. Like this person transformed overnight. This is a completely different series. In special collections, you'll see what I call one-offs. These are single pieces, not necessarily part of the series. And this is a piece that I made here in Professor Bailey's class. We were working concepts in 3 dimensions. Great class, gotta take it. They're still having it. And this is a very large maple stump that's up in special collections. And I basically put the story of my life into the stump. So I would take year 1, here's the center of the stump. And what's my earliest memory? I was somewhere between 0 and 6 months. And I remember the first house I was in. And so I put house in the very center circle. And then every year from that, I would write my memories and stamp them into the tree. It's a tactile piece, so touch it. I spent a long time stripping the bark off of it and sanding the trunk down, and it feels amazing. So definitely feel free to touch that piece. And that's an introduction to a lot of the different work that I do. Ta-da! So I guess with that, I'm interested to hear what you think and what your questions are. Liz?
On your spiderweb pieces, I wasn't exactly clear. Were you actually taking spiderwebs and attaching them onto the print?
Yes. They're real spider webs, and you have to work on them in place. I only work with orb weavers because I think they make the prettiest webs. And it's kind of, people say, oh, I've got tons of webs in my basement. And I go there and it's cobwebs, which they don't really look great on a canvas. Yes.
Students from my color course are
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Could you talk about the medium and how to make the color pieces that are students?
Oh, sure. So when I'm working on a Reiki patient, I get these colors in my mind's eye that relate to how they're doing health-wise. And when I see a problem, I gravitate toward that area and just focus on sending good energy to it. And I get a picture in my mind's eye of what this looks like, and the colors are just pulsing. So I had to figure out what the best way to translate that and bring that into the real world. And the computer seemed the best way to do that. And I'm a Photoshop junkie of like 20-something years. So in Photoshop, I would create these soft images, but in order to get a really heavily pigmented saturated color, saturation a nightmare, but it doesn't matter because the edges are very, very soft. So that's, yeah, and I can't get a print shop to do those for me. They're like, you don't run a paper through the printer twice, ever. They will not do that. They're like, you're gonna break our machines. And so they play with it, manipulate the image, and they try and make it more intense. You can't do it. You have to get the true saturation of the color.
For those pieces, there were like some layers that had more blur than others. Is there a particular reason that colors, like that those specific colors have to touch?
Yeah, actually, so let me see if I can bring this up. I'm thinking about the difference between, like this one is more fuzzy. It's just how it appears in my mind. This one had very soft edges. It was just the idea of a child. It was like a kernel of corn. It was like a seed. And I saw the seed and I thought, oh yeah. You know, this is like the promise of a child that I'm looking at. So I was really glad that she wanted to be pregnant. But with this one, green torso, this was actually, this is really old trauma. Like this is, so it was really, really difficult. I'm trying to think, I don't know if I have, I did a series that starts off with the green fuzzy edges black, because that's where the patient was when we started. The black was easily changed, I mean, over 20 minutes, was changed to green, but this hard red edge, to me, represents the level of healing that was needed. Like, we literally ran up against a hard edge. It took a lot more sessions to whittle this down, but the last session that I had with this patient, it was all green up until the yellow, and the yellow had shrunk, which is amazing. And it's really weird to see these things because I'm not really sure where they're coming from, where the information is coming from, but I know that it's true because I can see the change taking place, and I can see the change in the patient. So I think that's what the hard edge is. It's like, okay, you're really running up against something now that we've got to work on more. Yeah, and it's funny how with energy work, a lot of times the colors really do relate to the chakras, which surprised me. I mean, I thought they were randomly assigned, but I found a lot of times it does relate, except for red, orange, and yellow. To me, red is pain or injury, yellow is like an old injury, and then orange is often muscle soreness. So the red, orange, and yellow not only translate to the lower chakras, but also to level of injury.
You train as a Reiki master, are you a master?
Yes, I'm a Reiki, I mean, it's hard to say Reiki master, but I have the master level, yeah.
Where do you work?
So I could see these colors as early as 8 years old. This is not something that you can learn, it's something that just happens, and the more, when I started learning Reiki and Mystic with Barbara McLeod, she's my Reiki master. And of course the lineage goes back to Dr. Mikao Usui, who was the one who started Reiki. So Reiki is really different than these colors and images. Reiki is about being attuned to different symbols that help different emotional states or things like that. But the colors, that's just something that I have, that other people have too, but it's not part of Reiki.
You have to be imprinted, or what's the word?
Attuned.
Attuned.
Yeah, you're attuned to the symbols at different levels of the class. Yeah, but I mean, it's meditation and Reiki practice has been the most amazing thing. Like the discoveries, it's like talking to quantum physics, you know, quantum mechanics. It's really amazing stuff. What made me want to represent them? Think a second. The compelling image. Yeah. It was just something that was always in my mind. You know, not every Reiki session leaves me with this amazing image, but the ones that do, they kind of stick with me. And that's how I decide what art to make. I mean, I have a notebook full of ideas, but the ones that stick with some credit here because when I was in the senior studio in Cummings, I was really struggling with my senior thesis, and she comes in and she's like, what are those colorful blobs? Those are really cool. And they were just like the very rough renderings that I had initially done. I was like, she's on to something. So I listened and I made them in much bigger images. So the first panel here too, dark matter, the one on the other side there, that's really a lot about my Reiki practice too, just the power of that energy that I feel. But the colors are like powerful. Anybody else?
Are you this spiritually? They say with Reiki sometimes when you get involved that way, you sometimes go to a dark place. So.
Well, in meditation, I want to go to a dark place. When I meditate, I try and get to the darkest place possible where there's nothing, and then I'm clear. I'm empty, you know, like senses. But like, you can open yourself up to things that you don't want to be opened up to, but there are also ways to close yourself off, not accepting negative energy. There's a practice where you zip yourself up. There's a, which means like nothing's getting in, and I'm just a channel. So when I'm draining somebody of negative energy, it goes right through me. It doesn't stick with me because I've learned how to close myself off. Yeah.
So are you saying that you can get into that dark energy that they talk about in terms of the cosmic chakra?
And the dark energy, the cosmic chakra?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about chakras, so
Yep.
that's connected to the whole universe. So
Oh,
then,
yeah.
then you just said you go into the darkest.
For meditation.
and then-
That's how I clear my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happens when you're there?
I feel like I'm having a conversation with the cosmos. I feel like I am a molecule, you know. I feel like I'm at the atomic level, and I'm communicating with all the other, and everything else. I feel so connected with everything when I'm meditating. And I feel like when I'm practicing Reiki, that it's a joint meditation. It's almost like I'm facilitating a meditation for myself and my patient. And I think that's where the messages come from. I really feel like physics are speaking to me.
Yeah.
That I can't think of another explanation of where this information is coming from. I'm not psychic. You know, so
Well, that's the mystery
it's
about dark matter,
fascinating.
that they don't know even know what it is. So even
Dark matter?
Even mathematically, it still is.
And theories are being disproven in physics, left and right, you know? So,
Dark energy too.
yeah.
I noticed something in one of your pieces. I think it was the last one. I don't know if you know
The memory container, the maple stone?
Yes, with the words on it.
Yes.
So if you show that one, yeah, I want to ask you a question.
Let me see if I can do it. Oh, my computer died again.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So
You can see it in real life upstairs.
yeah. How big is it? Let me see you show you.
I put it on a pedestal, but it's about 33 to 36 inches in diameter at the top, and probably about 22 inches high. But I raised it up so it's a better reading level. But yeah, you can get some really interesting snippets of stories of my life.
My question was because you were just talking about just one way.
Oh,
You're talking about the chakras, and then immediately then you showed that one. And I thought there was a connection in the chakras between the shape of it looks like a mountain range at the back.
oh yeah.
And in the front, it's, a whole parabola of curvature of space.
Oh yeah, because these are the actual rings of the trees, so I followed that movement. And then the maple stump, I got it from my friend who's in Westerly, Rhode Island, and it had been sitting in her backyard for years, and it had grown this nice little fungus on it. I'm not sure if that's kind of the woods, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was a really fun talk about meditation. I mean, this is a project that took me 52 hours. And I don't know, Bailey, if you remember remember when I first brought it in, it was still damp. It's dried out now, but it was so damp. And I'm sanding it with a hand sander, but a power sander, and it's vibrating the whole stump, and like critters are coming out of it, worms and bugs, and like it was a really interesting process just to smooth it all down and then to stamp the letters into it. It was very meditative.
Was it carved with engravings?
Letter stamps for tooling leather or metal, yeah, and just tone them in. Each individual, and one of the things about this is that our memories play tricks with us. So some memories have been altered because we remember them differently, and some memories disappear. Some memories are deeper than others. You can remember them more clearly. So what I did was I inked some of them. So the more prominent memories have a darker color ink. I used three different types of brown ink. And so the lightest memories aren't inked at all. And then as the more pronounced memory is, the darker the stain. Anybody else? Is that it? Are we done? I want to thank everybody for coming. It's really nice to see faculty here that I studied with for a really long time. And thank you so much for coming. There is a reception here. If you would like to take home something, I do have more postcards left over that have age-old from the migration series on them if you want. I also have some cards from my gallery in Mystic. They're doing an opening reception on November 19th, so you're all welcome to come and see that. I regularly show in Mystic at the Courtyard Gallery, so I have 5 works there that are part of anything you've seen. And then the Hygienic Art Gallery has a photography show right now. And my husband and I went to Italy a couple of years ago, and I was just fascinated by the seaweed in Venice and the graffiti in Rome. And so I did a lot of photography, but I love encaustic. So what I would do is I would take the photograph and I would transfer it into the encaustic. So I have some of my graffiti photographs up in special collections, and then I got into the photo show. So they recognized my piece there, and I have a piece with the Venetian seaweed that grows in the canal, similar to the canal boats. That's the next piece. It's a great show. There's a really cool